welcome back to the House of Langford channel. Today I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of introduce myself and explain who I am, what my background is, and answer some questions that I've requested some of my Facebook page fans to ask me. It's kind of like a Q&A, and I'm going to answer some questions for you all. So we'll start with the fact that my name is Maddison, and I recently got married in August, so it's all very new. And I'm a teacher full time. Well, technically I'm a teacher. I did my teaching degree in 2017, and I like to teach art and textiles in secondary school, but I also teach adults in adult community education and privately as well. I teach at a studio called Beautiful Things run by Claire McInnes. So I teach advanced dressmaking courses there and some of the odd sewing courses as well as jewellery classes too. So I'm going to head straight into my questions, and then maybe some other things will pop up that I want to talk to you about as well, which I'll speak to you after. Okay? So the first one came from, is it Danny? Or Dangny? From my Facebook page, and they asked what my background was. So I started my crafting journey when I was about 7 years old. My nan taught me how to knit, she taught me how to crochet, and she taught me how to use her sewing machine. At the same time, my grandmother taught me how to cross stitch, and as I could take cross stitch with me wherever I went, and I picked it up really quickly, as opposed to knitting and crochet, I wasn't quite confident with them. I would take cross stitch with me everywhere, and I did lots and lots of different projects, but when it came down to actually doing stuff with them, they all ended up mostly being framed or turned into cards, and it wasn't until kind of leaving secondary school that I borrowed my nan's sewing machine and dove straight into sewing. So I started making them up into cushions, making up into quilts, and then they became gifts for friends and family as well, which then led me to my next course. So when I left secondary school, I then went on to do a diploma in fashion design at a local college, and then straight from that went to do my fashion degree, so a bachelor's degree in fashion design at University of East London, and then immediately went straight into working in a school as a technician in the art department, which is really, really cool, because every day was something different. There was new projects to learn. I had to come up with lots of new ideas as well, new samples for classes, and it meant I was in charge of ordering all of the resources for the art department, so I knew exactly what was coming in, and every time we got a new box of glue sticks, I would hide them so no one knew where they were, and then maybe they would last until the end of the year rather than just a few months. So 200 glue sticks will last you a year if you hide them well. I spent 6 years there, and then went and decided that I was going to be a teacher, so I went and did my teaching degree and finished in 2017, and I've been teaching for the last 2 years, so here I am today. What else have we got? So one of them says, do I like to work with music in the background, and if so, what am I listening to? A lot of the time I actually don't have anything on in the background. I do like quiet, which is quite nice. Sometimes I even crochet in bed, just because it's quiet in there. So if my husband's watching like a horror film, which I really don't like, he'll watch it in the living room and I'll go crochet in the bedroom. So we get our own little space that way as well, which is quite nice. But no, I don't really listen to anything at the moment. Like in my car, I've got the Greatest Showman soundtrack, the reimagined one. So it's the one with Panic at the Disco and Pink on it, and Years and Years. So it's their versions of the songs from The Greatest Showman. And I kind of do sing it to the top of my lungs, which isn't necessarily brilliant singing, but I'm in my car so no one else can hear me. Other things I kind of like listening to are 30 Seconds from Mars. I like rock music, alternative rock, stuff that's loud, which I can sing along to. So I also like a lot of Fall Out Boy and Nickelback and Panic at the Disco. I'm not really into... I do listen to pop, because it's on the radio, but don't often put it in my car. My CDs are mostly alternative rock and pop stuff. So, yeah, I like loud music. But when I'm working, I like quiet. So, nothing really gets played around then. But I do often put like a movie on in the background. So the other night I had Pitch Perfect on, and what was I doing? I was reading, but I had Pitch Perfect on in the background, so I had the music from that in the background as well, which is quite cool. And I did, every now and then I would sing along to it as well, just because. Another one. So I have, what is your favourite cuppa of the day? What is it and when is it? Don't really know. I drink a lot of water at the moment. I'm trying to up my water intake. I don't necessarily drink much else at the moment. So I have squash most days. I'll have a glass of squash in the morning, and then it's water throughout the day. Every now and then, when I was working last year, I'd have a cup of tea at lunchtime, sometimes with a biscuit. The issue is, if I make a cup of tea and I've got biscuits, I will have a whole pack of biscuits. I won't just have one, because I can't stop at one. So for my one cup of tea, I will have one whole pack of biscuits. If it's one of those big packets of bourbon biscuits, though, I have about half a packet. And I got to the point where I knew exactly what halfway in the packet was. But I'm meant to be on Slimming World, so biscuits aren't really what I want to be eating if I'm on Slimming World and trying to lose weight. Yeah. But I love a... Let's see, what's my favourite biscuit? Fox's Biscuits. Biscuits, like the... Is he a panda? Yeah, the panda. I like pandas anyway. So the panda from Fox's Biscuits. Yeah, I like the crunch creams. Chocolate fudge crunch cream, or a ginger cream. They're quite nice. Ginger crunch cream. I like them. Dunked in a cup of tea though, because then they just melt in your mouth and you're like, those are the questions I had from my Facebook page. So I'm going to move on to the ones from my Facebook group. So it's a group that is linked to the Facebook page. So the Facebook page is the House of Langford, and the group that goes alongside it that is actually linked to it is called Wear It, Share It. So anything that you've made in a class of mine, you can share it on there. Anything you've bought from me and you take a picture, you can share that on there. But it's nice. It's just a nice place for people to talk to each other. Originally it was just set up so I could sort of get some feedback from people as well on my products and what people would like to see. And a lot of people actually asked me to share my craft studio or craft space, but it's not really a craft space at the moment. There's lots of stuff in there, but I can't use it because there's too much stuff in it. So even the desk has got stuff piled on top of it. There's too much stuff. This is why my husband doesn't currently live with me, because I have too much stuff. So I need to sort it all out. So someone did actually ask me, how do I organise my craft space? And that was from Casey. Casey, you've seen my craft space. It's not organised. All my jewellery stuff is together on one wall. Then I have fabrics in an Expedit, not an Expedit, they're Kallax now, aren't they? An IKEA Kallax unit. All my most of my fabric is in there. I've got boxes and boxes of it in a spare cupboard as well. There's too much of it. On the other side, I've got things like paper craft books or my sewing patterns, and I've got a whole new Kallax unit that's just got wool in it. Yeah, too many too many crafts that I like to do. So you have sewing, There's jewellery, crochet, which also includes knitting because there's loads of walls, so I can do both. And I've got some papercraft stuff. Not an awful lot of papercraft stuff, but I've got lots of... I've got a big Kallax Expedit unit, which is full of stuff, which I don't really use, but I don't want to get rid of it. So I've got things like my pasta machine for my clay, like my Fimo clay. I've got a light box in there for when I'm drawing. I've got a melt pot for my jewel enamel and my enamel powders. I've also got resin somewhere. I think it's on the floor, which is not safe for resin. But then I've got 2 shelves just full of sewing patterns. And there's a desk attached to it, which has got my sewing machine on it, so that's a bonus. However, it's got stuff all piled around it, so I can't use it anyway. And underneath it's got loads and loads of duvet covers because I like the patterns that they do on them, and then I can change them, cut them all up and make them into new clothes and things like that, which is really cool. Because then I have something different, and then I get students look at my clothes and they go to me, "Miss, I've got that on my bed." Which is quite funny. But they don't realise that until I say to them, it used to be a duvet, and they look at it and they go, "It's familiar, but why?" And it's because they've got that duvet at home and it is actually used as a duvet, whereas I don't use them as duvets because I just like the pattern. So yeah, thanks Casey. My studio is still full. And it was quite nice that my friend Emma popped up on there and went, she doesn't organise it unless I'm there. So yes, I can organise, but with help. I'm not very good at doing it on my own. At least not at home. I can do it at work, but not at home. What else do we have? Laura asked me, what's your favourite material to use? And I had to ask if that was specifically in general or per different craft that I do. So when it comes to jewellery making, I like to use wire and gemstones. Mainly because when I'm working with wire and gemstones, I let the gemstone tell me what it wants in a way that I will start wrapping, and if I don't feel it's right for the stone, I'll rip it all off. If I let the wire build around the stone, so I don't like to cover it up entirely. I like to make sure that that stone is the focal point and the wire is literally just what's holding it in, but adds a piece of interest around the outside. And I like jewellery because when I'm working on a specific project, it's portable. But when I've got lots of ideas going on in my head, it's really not portable, because then I throw everything into a bag and think, well, that's too heavy to actually carry anywhere. But I do tend to take my tools with me wherever I go. The same goes for crochet. I love working with crochet because I can just grab a ball, grab a hook, maybe I'll grab a pattern. It depends what I'm working on. If I'm working on C2C, I don't need a pattern because that's corner to corner. Sorry, I've just had breakfast. But yeah, no, portable projects are what I prefer because I don't really have the space at home at the moment to do them. But I do go to the studio a lot now as well, and I use the space at the studio to do things like cut projects out or sew up little projects because there's space there, and it's quite nice that Claire lets me do that, which is good. Otherwise nothing would get done, to be honest, and what's the point of crafting if you're not going to get anything done with it? So as they say, collecting materials and using materials are two different hobbies, and I think they're right. I acquire a lot of materials, but I don't have time to use them. So one hobby is collecting things, so like collecting stationery. I buy a lot of stationery, even though I don't write that much or draw that much, but I love a new book. So they will get used eventually, but I don't know what on. And then I need to kind of stop myself from buying them. What else do we have? What do you see as your main passion or drive? That's another one from Casey. We don't really know. I think the easiest way for me to explain it is to think of a brownie sash. So when you're in the brownies or the Girl Guides, you would get a sash for each thing you completed, you get a badge, and then you would sew that badge onto that sash. My main drive is that I love learning new skills and techniques. So they are my brownie badges that I sew onto a sash, effectively. I collect skills and techniques. I will try and learn almost everything I can because I like to learn. But at the same time, once I've learned those skills, I then want to share them with the world and teach other people how to do them. And I think that is a drive and passion. That is probably the easiest way I can explain it. I collect skills and techniques and I like to teach them to other people. In this day and age, everyone is so focused on technology that it's nice to be able to sit, relax, and do something for you. So every day I will do something that's just for me, even if it's 30 minutes or 15 minutes a day, and we class that as me time. So that is my time to do something for me. And I feel that everyone is always able to learn something. So if somebody wants to do something for themselves, it could just be reading a book or having a nice hot bubble bath. For me, it's crafting. And it sounds like I'm rambling a lot at the moment, but we will try to work through this and see if I'll actually answer it properly. What am I actually trying to say? Let's think. For me, it is seeing the face on a student once they have learned something and they are then confident to continue with that skill or technique and make something else. That's my drive. I really enjoy seeing people happy, and it's almost like a light bulb moment when something clicks. Oh, that one clicks. That one doesn't click so much. When something clicks in a student's mind and they go, yes, I can do this, that's what makes it worthwhile. That's why I keep doing what I do. It happens to me all the time. I'll see something and I think, I know I can do it, but how do I do it? And when I finally get to the process of being able to complete it, then I'm like, yes, that's my light bulb moment. I've worked it out. I can now do that. And that's what I love seeing when I'm teaching. So one of the last questions I had was, dream thing to make or have. Now, I don't think I have a dream thing to have. This is from my friend Cara. I don't think I have a dream thing that I must have. Well, ideally I'd love my own studio space, but it's a mess. I'd love my own space. That is my dream, to have my own space and just be able to work day in, day out, whenever I've got free time, spare moment, to make not just for me, but make for other people as well. Because that's what I do for Christmas and birthdays and things. I like to make items for other people. I'm starting to run out of ideas of what to make though. So please add any ideas in the bottom for Christmas ideas, because I would love to make some more. I have no idea what to do. I've got so much fabric, I need to use it up. So dream thing to make. Right, now I bought a lot of fabric when I was at university. Now I've got two versions of the same fabric. One is white based and one is duck egg blue based, but they both have the same filigree pattern on it in black, which is flocked, so it's like fluffy texture. I don't really like the texture, but I wanted to see how it would work, and it's got quite a nice structure to it. What I really, really wanted to do with that was make a Vivienne Westwood style dress. Now, I was inspired by an episode of Project Runway, I think it was. Might have been Project Catwalk, the English version. And somebody made this amazing purple gown that had this big billowing skirt, but the waist was tiny and it was really fitted up top. And I think if it was in white, it would be a wedding dress, effectively. But I love the silhouette. I love the shape. I love the amount of fabric it used, which is why I bought so much. And yes, I still want to make it. But where would I ever wear it? For me, it is the challenge of making it and working with a fabric that I'm not necessarily comfortable with. So that is my dream make, but not necessarily something that I would actually wear anywhere. So one day maybe it will happen. If I get the space that I dream of, I would have the space to actually make it. But until then, it will always be an idea, and it will always be sitting in a drawer waiting to be put together. Yeah, so those are the questions I have from my Facebook page and my Facebook group. The other one I had was from Instagram, and they asked, I think this was from Viv, they said, how will my channel be different to other channels? And honestly, I don't know. I think I'm using this as a way of sharing my knowledge with the world without being confined to where I am, so my demographic, rather than being confined to just teaching one-to-one or in person. I can kind of teach across the globe. I did have a video on this channel which was making jewellery using self-covering buttons, and I did that for university. I think I've now archived it because it was very poor quality. I would love to be able to put out some proper tutorials explaining how to do some of the things I do. So one of my favourite things to actually make is a netted cabochon, either as a pendant or bracelet or earrings. And when I started to write instructions for it, I found that it takes me actually 15 minutes to make from start to finish. But it doesn't take me 15 minutes to teach. And when I first made it, it didn't take me 15 minutes. That's developed over time, so the more I've made it, the quicker I can get. But it'd be lovely to put out some tutorials similar to that, because they don't take me long to do. But in the world of YouTube and videos, you can just stop and pause whenever you like and follow it along quite well, actually. If the camera angle is really good, if the written instructions match the video, then it's very easy to pick it up. And I think that would be really cool to make some pieces virtually without having to actually be there, but still be on the other end of comments and things like that. So you can always leave comments in the bottom, in the section down below, and I will always get back to you, which is quite nice. Yeah, other than that, I don't really know. It's just an outlet for me at the moment to sort of put myself out to the world a little bit more, rather than being confined to the schools that I work in or into the colleges that I teach in as well, and get to meet other people. That's how my cross-stitch journey developed. I joined some board forums and met loads of crafting people that way. And I was only a teenager back then, but I still have some of them as friends. And we used to go to all the shows, like the knitting and stitching show at Olympia and Ali Pali. We used to go every year, and I remember taking Joey with me, my son, when he was maybe 2 or 3, and it was just a really nice atmosphere to sit and talk with like-minded people, and they treated me like an adult. I wasn't just this teenager. I was one of them, and I think that's really cool. So what other things can I tell you about me? So I think we've kind of established that I am a craftaholic, because I like learning new skills and techniques, I do have a degree in fashion. I do have a teaching degree. I also did an advanced diploma in jewellery making, which involved a whole business plan, and making up some of the examples that they wanted as well, some of the tutorials that they gave you, using wire and beads. I've joined some courses on Centre of Excellence as well. I don't know if you know about that. It's a website with lots of various different courses, but they're all written based, or some of them have videos, and you answer questions based on the reading material. And they don't actually cost that much. So a lot of the time they'll have codes out so you can get them for about £30, and you just dip in and out whenever you like. There's no time limit on them. So I've got a crystal healing one currently open, which is to help me understand the gemstones that I use in my jewellery work, and then I can better advise people when I'm selling at events and things like that. There's also a photography one I've got open. I've got a journaling one. I've got journalism, so to become a journalist. There's the art of knitting, because I figured that my knitting is quite basic and I'd like to improve it. I've even got yoga for weight loss, which is a 30-day challenge as such. But again, you can still dip into it whenever you like, and hopefully maybe I'll actually get around to doing that one. Yeah, so other things. So I like Pikachu, and I like pandas. I used to love cows. I think we've got a theme here. Look, there's cows up here, of black and white animals. But yeah, no, I love pandas. These are my socks that I'm wearing today. I like to read. So at the moment I'm reading the Divergent series. I've recently just finished The Queen of Air and Darkness as well, which is a Cassandra Clare book, which is part of the Shadowhunter series, which I actually love. I love being lost in a world that's not my own, but it's very similar to my own, and where all this magical stuff can happen and occur and things like that. I think they're both teen fiction, but I don't mind. I just like being lost in a world that isn't my own. Yeah. I'm not sure there's anything else I can say to you today, so thank you for watching. If you've liked, or if you think there's any other questions you want to ask me, then just pop them in the comments at the bottom, and maybe I'll do another video on that as well. So yeah, thank you for spending the last almost half an hour with me, and come back soon. I've got another video already filmed and ready to go, so you never know what's around the corner. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.